Hello, everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to see if Periscope picks up again because apparently they've been slow to publish our reports to those people who are out there. So I'm going to give it just another minute and see if it catches up. So share this, share the YouTube feed, share the Facebook feed. I know we have a couple of other platforms this feeds to, so please share it with all your friends. Looks like YouTube is not picking up, but I have another feed for Periscope, so I'm going to take that live. Thank you for everybody for joining us today. I went on the scope this morning. We spoke a little bit about some issues here in California. I spoke briefly about our run against radical Raul Ruiz, and I want to just address this issue directly and really talk to you guys about how the dynamics are here in California. We have so many politicians that are running that the people don't know anything about. You know about Feinstein, you know about Nancy Pelosi, you know about Maxine Waters, but you need to know about the radical Raul Ruiz. I mean, seriously, there are many of them out there. They're quiet politicians. They go to D.C., they do their dirty work of voting 90, 95% of the time ultra radical, and then they come home and pretend to be the good guy. They pretend to do good things for the will of the general public, and that just simply is not the case. And in fact, this is what we are fighting here in California. I'm going to go ahead and share this feed because I want to make sure that a lot of people get it, and I see that only a few people are on. So let's go ahead and get this out there. Hi guys, welcome to the feed. Let's go ahead and get this shared on Twitter. Tweet. There we go. You know, social media is wonderful because we get to talk directly to our neighborhood, to our people in our communities, and to people all over the state and across the country. And in fact, people even overseas can watch what's going on in some cases. But here's the deal, folks. Radical Raul Ruiz is just that. He pretends to advocate for veterans. He does do some good things for veterans. He holds a one-day university connecting veterans with program directors. But we started an entire nonprofit organization, humanitarian organization, to year-round facilitate helping veterans get connected with their benefits. And that's going to be launching really soon. We've been working on it for 8 months. It's going to be a call center. So to be a congressman and then hold a one-day event, it's especially bothersome. Why? Because the rest of the time that he is in D.C., he is legislating literally against everything that these veterans have fought for. Liberty, freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He's legislating against those things. You know, veterans, some gave everything. Their buddies, the people they fought with, limbs, mental and emotional injuries that took place. Many of them came back with PTSD, and some people paid the ultimate price. So to be bamboozled by a representative who pretends to be the good guy and does a one-day university, but then turns around and legislates against everything that these people have fought for, and actually is legislating for socialistic, globalist ideologies, which are contrary in many cases to the sovereignty of this great country and to the United States of America as a whole. It's bothersome. So we're going to be putting together a pamphlet for everybody to be able to see his voting record, to see really what's going on here in the Valley, because the people deserve to know. And I believe that the people are not, with the readily available information, they're not fooled any longer. And they need to know there are options. I'm running for Congress here. I will fight for the people, for what is right and what is good. But one of the things I wanted to tell you about Radical Raul Ruiz was that he stated that he's against the border wall, but he supports alternate measures of beefing up border security, like increasing the border patrol surveillance and ability through increased use of drones. Yet, he voted against an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which proposed, quote, sending excess military equipment which is not being used to border security personnel to assist with securing U.S. borders. So he's saying one thing, he's doing another. And this do-nothing politician, and in fact lying politician situation we have across the country has got to change. And it needs to change with your vote. And also with you sharing this information. Make memes, put stuff out on social media, share this video, and donate to our campaign at erincruz.org, because this is the only way that we're going to be able to take our country back. So one of the, hi, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody was saying, we love you. Well, don't just love me, help me fight for you. And I appreciate, though, the warm welcome, and I appreciate the share. The other item that I wanted to note, I have a big list of notes here that I wanted to share with you today, because you deserve to know the truth. You know, it's one thing to be spouting off about Maxine Waters or to be spouting off about the Nancy Pelosi's. It's another thing to know what they're actually doing and then know where I stand. So like I said, Raul Ruiz said he was for border patrol, border security. He legislated against giving excess materials that we had sitting around, just doing nothing to release those. He voted against releasing those to our border security and border patrol efforts. So, you know, I think it's important to stress that these issues need to be talked about. They need to be discussed. And I think that it's important to know that I stand firmly with Border Patrol. I stand firmly with Interior Enforcement, increasing technology, manpower, and strengthening our infrastructure at the border region. I stand with the people who are fighting every day and facing health concerns, doing their job, and addressing the humanitarian crisis down there, and trying to secure our country and help us to remain a sovereign nation. And I will legislate accordingly. I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud of my country, and we need to make sure that we're secure for future generations. I'm not ashamed to say so, and do so. And so the other issue I wanted to talk about was where he literally was seeking to prove that the 2017 GOP tax cut had been and will be damaging to the middle class. Ruiz stated that the tax cut was forecasted to increase national debt by $1.9 trillion. No one is able to project these kinds of positions and perspectives. They're just not able to. And I believe that, in fact, you're going to catch this, hold on to your seat, okay? In April 2018, the Congressional Budget Office report did state that the tax cut would cause $461 billion in economic growth, okay? Growth. And then Ruiz's voting record shows him to be a lockstep lapdog with Nancy Pelosi. So these are things that we need to see, that he is not just talking about things that are contrary and finding a what do you call it, invisible thing to project to the people about what he thinks is going to happen. He's putting information out there that's not even true, and it's all in talking points with the mass progressive left, like the Nancy Pelosi's. And this is important to recognize, because when congressmen state things which are false, which may impact our economy, it's highly irresponsible. It's highly irresponsible and can impact our markets and various things. So it's important that our representatives in D.C. are not talking negative financial gloom and doom unless it's actuated by and realized by the analysts, like the Congressional Budget Office, who is literally there to really look at the legislation. And even the CBO is wrong at times. Many times they're off. But Ruiz very irresponsibly went out and talked about this issue. So we need to talk about that, folks. We need to bring that to the attention. And then the other thing, when I say that he's the lapdog of Nancy Pelosi and buddy-buddy with Maxine Waters in terms of his voting record, we're talking massively, because in the case of Nancy Pelosi, 990 bills, okay, 990 pieces of legislation that congressional members voted on during the term in question, this whole term. Ruiz and Pelosi only voted differently 86 times. 91% of the time, they voted the same, on the same wavelength. And this is important to talk about, because Raul Ruiz has sat in the desert and done much of nothing, which is probably better than what he's doing now, because now he's legislating, and it's horrible. What he is legislating. It's very contrary. Before he was just, signing on the bills and doing a vote. Now he's legislating, and literally legislating against the will of the general population here, especially because our district is split. The progressives here want it to be seen that this district is heavily leftist. No, we're in a red county. The reality is we are in a red county. Highly diverse. Yes, there are ultra-liberals. Yes, there are ultra-conservatives. But the majority of the people is 50-50. And most people here are level-headed and want to have a representative who represents them. And so this kind of idea that he's voting and legislating ultra-left, it's just not right, because it's not representative of the people and the constituents that are here. So the other issue I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that in April of 2017, Ruiz stated that he supported universal care. And really, he didn't come together with what that meant. Universal care, universal health care, Medicare for all. What is this that he's looking at? And I mean, is he up there with AOC? I mean, is he up there with Tlaib and some of these other people who are literally wanting a full-on takeover of our medical system by government socialism? Because it doesn't state anything like he says there needs to be a free market system. It just states that he supported universal care. And when the Desert Sun asked him, that was what that meant, and he didn't elaborate. He also told the Desert Sun that he supported universal health care, was against single-payer systems and would favor proposals. But what does this mean? A lot of ambiguous, up-in-the-air ideas there, and when we see Congress going how they are in a very, very one-sided way, we have to say to our representatives, what do you really want to accomplish? Because we need to be clear. We need to know if we need to vote you out. As far as I'm considered as a constituent, I would not vote for Raul Ruiz. I'm running against Raul Ruiz, and I stand against universal health care, Medicare for all, or a single-payer system. I agree we need lots of strong solutions for the people, but we need a free market system. We need a position where we as a people are freed up to choose whatever doctor we want. If we want to have private insurance, if we want to have a co-op, if we want to look at paying cash, we can do so. If we want to buy across state lines, we can do so. And I also am an advocate for repealing the McCarran-Ferguson Act, which would free up a lot of information that the people would have and free up the market system to be able to operate more efficiently. So where is he on this single-payer system? I mean, it's for being an MD, and that I have to question where he stands. And the reason why, folks, and when I say he's with Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff's, it's true because he's an MD who voted for infanticide, and he's a Seventh-day Adventist. And when I look at that, I think to myself, how could you be for children who were aborted and survive, and not giving them, if they're a viable baby, an advocate to save them, and to preserve life, to do no harm. How could you, if you're an MD, take that position? And especially a faith-based person, it's just contrary to what you stand for. So when I look at his proposal of universal care, I think, well, what does that mean? Because if you are an MD who voted or who took an oath to do no harm, and you are a Seventh-day Adventist, that should mean that you want to protect life, that you want to advocate for the newly born, that you want to protect life. But what you're showing us when you vote for infanticide is that what you really mean is it's okay to kill babies who are born. And that, you have to look at the morals, the value systems, and you have to look at the individual and say, can we even trust what you say? So, these are some of the issues I wanted to talk to you about today. As you know, I'm pro-life. I am for advocacy for the newly born. I mean, I'm defunding Planned Parenthood federally is a big issue. If you have religious freedoms and rights, your tax dollars should not go to something that you are strongly opposed to in your faith. And so that's where I stand on that issue. I'm also for advocacy for the unborn. Some of our Bill of Rights, we're going to go right to that. Let's go right to the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights secures your God-given rights, okay? And we as humans have God-given rights to life, and that includes the unborn. So the Fifth Amendment, some of these amendments, we have to read them and think, well, what are they really protecting? And I believe our founders would see it no other way, that the unborn have a right to life. They're little baby citizens in the womb. They should be protected. And I know maybe people who are pro-choice are saying, well, I should be able to choose what I want to do with my body. But folks, we have to look at the real issue. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the right to life. There's a lot of controversy talking about the abortion issue and when is life. Life starts at conception. Where I stand from, any biologist would agree that one cell organism is life. But anyway, we won't go into that. But right to life, life starts at conception. Some people say it starts 8 weeks or 20 weeks or whatever it might be. But the reality is that life is within you, and you have a moral and ethical responsibility to ensure that their rights are protected, especially as a mother. And these issues won't get solved overnight, but I truly believe that we as a people, and especially legislators up in Washington, D.C., need to be real careful about violating that Bill of Rights, especially for our most vulnerable, the unborn. And then we go into the elderly. If you are okay with killing, for example, a newly born baby in a botched abortion, as Raul Ruiz voted for infanticide, where do you draw the line? Elderly euthanasia? Is your life expendable because you've gotten too old and you have no value? We have to look at the capability of these individuals to be legislating in D.C. and their moral and ethical basis for which they're operating. And what I want to thank all of you for is your support, because as I've spoken out about these issues, I've gotten hit hard. Well, Erin, you need to tone it down here. We need to look at this, and you need to present things this way. And, the people want to know where you stand, but the constituency is like this, and certain people believe that. I understand that, and not everybody is going to like what I stand for, what I believe in, but the reality is I'm going to tell you where I stand. I'm going to let you know what I believe in. You can go to my FAQ at erincruz.org. You can look at my positions, and I'll tell you, if you want to come to me, if you're a constituent in the 36th district, you can come to me and you can ask me questions. You can share with me your ideas. And it's very important to me that everybody has their voice heard, because I can tell you right now in the 36th district, my voice is not being heard. My voice and my representation is not getting through in the 36th congressional district. And that just isn't right. So we all should be able to reach out to our representatives and let them know where we stand, let them know where we think things should change, better business practices, strong ideas to improve our communities. All of these things should be part of the conversation. So what I need you to do right now is look at Raul Ruiz's record. He has an F-, okay, an F- in immigration and advocacy for, let me go ahead and get this out. Oop, I'm not sure why it's not sending. He has an F- as it relates to immigration and advocacy for our American workers. On Numbers USA, I am listed as a true reformer. And that is because I believe in putting our American workers and our legal American immigrants, people who have immigrated here right now, legally, all the way to the beginning of time, when people started coming to the United States. I'm an advocate to ensure they have a strong community, a strong country to live in, and provide for future generations. So please take a look at that at Numbers USA. You can find all of this information, everybody, on my website at erincruz.org. I urge you to get involved, sign up to volunteer, and donate. We need to reach the crowds. And this next week, we're starting our phone banking. So if you want a phone bank, hit the volunteer tab. We are welcoming you. We are going to take back this valley, and we're going to do it one person at a time. So God bless each and every one of you. I want to thank you all for getting involved and staying connected. And please make sure you like and share this video with all of your friends and your family, and even if they don't live in the 36th Congressional District. God bless all of you. I hope you take care and have a great week. Bye.